Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. So, stepping onto the ballroom dance floor for the absolute first time? Yeah, it can feel pretty overwhelming, right? But don't worry. Today, we're unpacking the source material to build a really clear, actionable checklist. We're going to cut through all that noise and find a studio that just fits you perfectly.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Our source material perfectly sets the stage with this quote. The best decision comes down to fit. Your goals, your experience level, and the way a teacher builds skills step by step. Because honestly, finding the right studio isn't about, hunting down the flashiest neon signs or the most famous name in town. It's really all about matching your own unique needs and personality with a specific teaching approach.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at finding your perfect studio, matching your dance goals, evaluating the instructor's style, looking for structured fundamentals, comparing logistics and costs, and finally, taking a trial spin. We're going to systematically demystify this whole process from your first thought to your final sign-up.
All right, starting us off with Section 1, Finding Your Perfect Studio by defining your starting point.
Before you even think about looking at class schedules or price lists, our sources highly suggest just looking inward for a second at your specific goals. I mean, why are you choosing to dance in the first place? Are you aiming to look absolutely flawless for that one wedding song? Are you training for a serious athletic competition? Or do you literally just want to feel a bit more confident at a social party? A really top-tier studio is going to meet you exactly where you are. Whether you're a complete novice or you actually have some prior experience, they won't just rush you past the fundamentals.
Which brings us to Section 2, Match Your Dance Goals and Choose Your Style.
So, once you know why you're dancing, you kind of need to figure out what you'll be dancing. Think about the music that naturally makes you want to tap your foot. And this brilliantly illustrates the two main pathways in the ballroom world. On one side, we've got smooth and standard styles. Think of the super elegant sweeping flow of the waltz, or maybe the dramatic intensity of the tango. But then on the flip side, we have rhythm and Latin styles. This is where you get that energetic beat, the dynamic cha-cha, the romantic rumba. Now, a lot of programs out there offer a mix of both, but knowing which side of the floor actually calls to you, that's going to hugely influence which studio is your absolute best match. Now, if you are prepping for a wedding or a specific big event, your criteria definitely changes. Short-term programs are your best bet here. But listen, you have to make sure the studio actually lets you practice to your specific song, focusing on real timing. I mean, think about it. There is literally nothing worse than spending weeks learning this elegant, complicated routine, only to realize the DJ is playing a completely different tempo on your big day. No, thank you.
Move in right along to Section 3, Evaluate the instructor's style, because it goes way beyond just demonstrating steps.
We've all probably had that incredibly frustrating experience of a teacher who just physically shows you something and expects you to magically copy it, right? Instead of that, you want to look for an instructor who actually breaks down the physical mechanics. You want someone giving you immediate, actionable guidance on really specific elements. I'm talking about your posture, your exact foot placement, and the subtle mechanics of your frame and how you lead or follow. A truly great instructor is going to adapt their explanation when you struggle. They don't just, repeat the exact same vague tips a little louder.
The research actually suggests treating your initial consultation almost like a friendly interview. Seriously, don't be afraid to dig into their background. Ask about their competition history, ask how many years they've been teaching adults specifically, and find out exactly how they measure a student's progress over time. Because honestly, being an amazing dancer and being an amazing teacher, those are two very different skill sets. You want to be absolutely sure they have the proven experience to guide your specific journey.
That leads us to Section 4. Look for structured fundamentals, which is all about building muscle memory. Let's face it, as adults, we just don't soak up new physical movements the way kids do. It's a bummer, but it's true. We desperately need repetition and a really logical structure to retain what we learn from week to week. A productive class should have a clear flow. It should start with warm-ups to prep the body, move into isolated technique drills, then apply those drills in partner practice, and finally wrap up with a clear review component to really cement that muscle memory. If a class is just an unstructured free-for-all on the floor for an hour, that muscle memory just won't develop efficiently.
Another really crucial factor to look at is how the studio actually handles partner practice. Basically, studios usually fall into two distinct camps here. First, you have rotating roles, where you learn by dancing with multiple different partners throughout a single group class, and then you have dedicated pairing, where you either stick with one specific partner or you focus heavily on learning both the lead and follow mechanics all by yourself. So, which method is best? Well, that depends entirely on your personal comfort level and what your long-term goals are.
Are you aiming to social dance with strangers, or do you want to perfect routines with one specific partner?
Okay, let's talk about the practical stuff in Section 5. Compare logistics and costs, making it fit your life.
Because consistent practice is basically the secret sauce to improvement, the studio's format has to actually fit your life and your budget realistically. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how you might choose or combine these formats for optimal learning. Group classes are obviously highly affordable and fantastic for social learning. Private lessons, on the other hand, offer drastically faster skill development and are perfect for event prep. But you know what? The sweet spot for a lot of dancers is actually a combination of both. You get that highly focused technique coaching in a private lesson, and then you take that straight into a group class to apply it in a fun, low-pressure setting.
When you are out there comparing price tags, you need to find out exactly what is included in that bottom line cost. There are so many hidden factors here. Things like the instructor's credentials, the actual class size, any required shoes or specific attire, and even whether you get access to practice socials or recap videos, all of that can dramatically affect the pricing. You definitely want to be super wary of packages that have inconsistent coaching time or just really unclear outcomes.
Because at the end of the day, how will you actually know if you're improving? Well, a reputable studio is always going to be completely transparent about your learning trajectory. They should literally be able to look you in the eye and explain what you can realistically expect to achieve over a set number of weeks. They'll provide a comfortable, genuinely supportive practice environment to help get you exactly where you want to be.
Which brings us to our final step, Section 6. Take a trial spin. This is your action plan.
All right, it is time to take everything we've talked about and put it into concrete, real-world action. The recommended due diligence process from our sources is actually pretty simple. Step 1, book a trial lesson. Step 2, compare at least 2 different studios. And Step 3, this is absolutely crucial, ask the exact same questions at each one to guarantee an objective comparison. Doing this side-by-side comparison is quite literally the absolute best way to guarantee you find a studio environment and an instructor that truly motivates you.
Which brings us to our final question for today's explainer. Where will your dance journey begin? You are now fully armed with the checklist, the exact right questions to ask, and all the foundational knowledge from our sources to go out and find a truly great fit. So, what are you waiting for? Take that first step, book that trial, and get ready to absolutely shine out there on the dance floor. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay focused and happy dancing.